all the people. You give a people their human rights. You give them the right to vote. And you give them the illusion that they're governing their own self. And once you give them this freedom of voting, the freedom of by the people, of the people, and for the people bullshit, you can immediately put them into slavery. You see what I'm saying? You give them a leader. You always make something wrong with the leader. So if you give them a president, you always get something on the president that you give to the public, his flaws. And you make fun of the president, you know he got to come on the dress. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you feel that you are in charge because you know something about your so-called quote-unquote leader. Number one, if he's visible, he's not the leader. He's vulnerable. There's always somebody leading him, but we give you the visible false decoy.
I'm a survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre. I'm here seeking justice, and I'm asking my country to acknowledge what happened in Tulsa in 1921. The night of the massacre, I was awakened by my family. My parents and 5 siblings were there. I was told we had to leave, and that was it. I will never forget the violence of the white mob when we left our home. I still see black men being shot, black bodies lying in the street. I still smell smoke and see fire. I still see black businesses being burned. I still hear airplanes flying overhead. I hear the screams. I have lived through the massacre every day. Our country may forget this history, but I cannot. I will not, and other survivors do not, and our descendants do not. When my family was forced to leave Tulsa, I lost my chance of an education. I never finished school past the 4th grade. I have never made much money in my country. State and city took a lot from me. Despite this, I spent time supporting the war effort in the shipyards of California, but most of my life I was a domestic worker serving white families. I never made much money, but to this day I can barely afford my everyday needs. I'm asking that my country acknowledge what has been happened to me, the traumas and the pain, the loss, and I ask survivors and descendants to be given the chance to seek justice, open the door. For 70 years, the city of Tulsa and its Chamber of Commerce told us that the massacre didn't happen, like we didn't see it with our own eyes. You have me here right now. You see Mother Randall, you see my brother Hughes Van Ellis. We live this history and we can't ignore it. We lost everything that day, our homes, our churches, our newspapers, our theaters, our lives. Greenwood represented all the best of what was possible for black people in America and for all the people. No one cared about us for almost 100 years. We and our history have been forgotten, washed away. This Congress must recognize us and our history. For black America, for the white Americans, and for all Americans.
The star seed and addiction. Why does the star seed suffer and seem to be the victim of addiction? Why is the star seed an alcoholic? Why is the star seed a drug addict? It is not that you are the victim of any addiction. It is not that you are even an addict. It is simply because you came here designed and fashioned in such a way to complete your mission and to do so with extreme excellence and extreme focus, not to be distracted in any way, shape, or form. It is simply that whatever you put your hands to do, you do it with extreme excellence and you will accomplish it with extreme excellence. You focus on it morning, noon, and night. You do not lose focus of your mission. You have been designed this way. That is why a star seed must be extremely careful what they allow in their lives and who they allow to influence their lives. Because of a star seed, if you allow a drug addict into your life, then you will pick up on the behavior of this drug addict and accomplish it with extreme excellence and extreme focus. You have OCD type focus. When you put your mind to do something, you will accomplish it, even if it is to destroy your own self. You will destroy yourself with extreme focus and extreme excellence. This is how you are built. This is how you come here to accomplish. How do you think you come here to accomplish your mission? You are not going to be distracted. Many times and oftentimes we allow people in our lives that introduce us to alcohol, introduce us to drugs, and as a star seed, you will take this alcohol and you will take this drug and you will accomplish destroying yourself with extreme excellence. You have forgotten your mission and you have forgotten your purpose because the alcohol and the drug has taken over your mission and your purpose, and you are destroying yourself with extreme excellence and extreme focus. You come here built this way. You come here designed this way. You will not lose focus. And if you do not know who you are, and you believe that you are this alcoholic or this drug addict, then you will accomplish the alcoholism and the drug addiction with extreme excellence and extreme focus. And absolutely nothing will stand in your way. This is why star seeds become alcoholics and drug addicts. They are built and designed to accomplish their mission with excellence, extreme, obsessive, compulsive focus. You will give your life for your mission and for your purpose, which is why the alcohol is destroying you and the drugs are destroying you. Because you are designed to accomplish and do anything. Whatsoever you put your hands to do is done with excellence and focus and determination, even if it is alcohol and even if it is drugs. Be careful who you allow to influence your life, and be careful who you allow in your life. Because oftentimes and many times there are people who will bring alcohol and drugs into your life, and you, O star seed, will destroy yourself.
When he started his patch, he was talking to me all the way through his patch, all the way to this patch. He told me about how to make sure, like, you're not no fake Indian at all. You're a real Indian, you keep it real 100%, and you do the right thing at all times. And you show it the needle and thread.
Tell her where you from. Open up, open up. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Hoochie Ma. Second flag. Boom, boom. Look at my ball. Boom, boom. Cut up, cut up, cut up. Cut up, boy. Cut up, boy. Cut up. Hoochie Ma. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up.
I'm gonna talk about Kanye too. A different world, and for record numbers of black people, they went to college. Now that's successful for Cosby. So now Cosby was feeling himself trying to buy NBC, and then they I'm gonna talk about Kanye too. He tried to buy NBC, they killed his son, said no. That's against the Boule agenda. The way the Boule works is they have to pretend to save niggas as politicians, as black leaders. All of that's Boule. I know it's gonna hurt. I know it's gonna hurt. But there's stories of Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale being Boule. CIA ran Black Panthers. I know that shit hurts. I know it hurts. You gotta think of common sense shit. Afeni Shakur is pregnant, kills a fucking cop, defends herself, and gets acquitted. Are you fucking out your fucking mind? You can't do that shit now. If Johnny Cochran was alive, she defends herself. They said anybody who defends themselves has a fool for a lawyer. That is common sense saying in the court system. Anybody who defends themselves has a fool for a lawyer. That's a backstory to give you juice for Tupac. Tupac was a CIA operative. Period. I know you like it, nigga, but he was representing duality in your face. Two Pox. Biggie knew it. Get it? Two Pox. I was like, why did he say that? It was so corny. If Faith have a baby, she'll have two Pox. Because he was in on it. You gotta watch. What's the name of this goddamn website? Hold on, I just said it to B.O.B. So I'm gonna tell you what it is. Y'all guys seen it around. It was called Industry Hoax. Industry Hoax Revealed. He's a little bit conspiracy theory, but he did a lot of work and a lot of clips trying to expose Tupac. And I have to say, a lot of it is overwhelming. Numbers, always 33, this Jesus complex. He broke it.
I asked my ancestors, why don't you want to be reincarnated back to planet Earth? They refused. They were actually laughing at me. I gave them an opportunity. I was like, hey, let me have a baby. And then, one of you could choose and you could come back to planet Earth. They refused. They said, Zawadi, souls that reincarnate back to planet Earth are souls that are tricked. In the spiritual realm, we've got other souls that go around tricking other souls to coming back to planet Earth. They actually compared planet Earth to prison with a warden. My ancestors say this Earth is a prison. The spirits that bring our souls to planet Earth feed on our emotions and our suffering. They rage a war against the soul. Where is the soul in the brain? Because as soon as you start being a critical thinker or your brain start being independent, you ascend. When you ascend, you are now not controllable. That means they cannot program you. They cannot use you. You are no longer afraid. You are no longer being a person that is controlled by desire, and so on and so forth. And that means we have no control of anything in planet Earth except ourselves. As soon as you start controlling yourself, you are now fighting and you're disabling.
For instance, down there in the Haunted Mansion, you see the hologram, right? Oh, you know how to make a hologram. Well, our scientists have learned how to make people. They call them synthetics. Are you familiar with those?
Well, actually, we just interviewed John Lear, and he was talking about being in an audience in which they were given a lecture by a guy that they thought was real and found out later he was a hologram.
Well, it's a synthetic. A synthetics, when you touch their skin, it feels like plastic almost. That's the latest technique. The old techniques, if you guys can rent a video, the boys from Brazil, rent it, because in it, it gives you the exact way how our government's been making people.
Really?
Yeah,
well,
and the Soviets have a different method called...
I mean, making people meaning temporary people?
No, walking, talking ones.
Meaning through genetics? You're not talking about that?
Well, let me tell you. The movie shows it, but I'll share it with you right now.
All right.
All I need to do is take 2 cells off of your body, yours.
Uh-huh.
We give them a small electrical charge. I'm just don't act like a fertilized egg. If I got a fertilized egg, all I need is a receiver in order to make it. So they were hypnotizing women, said they were being invaded by aliens. And the fetus starts growing, right? Needs food. Well, they can use cows and sheep, too. It's, again, a food source. That's all we need. After about 14 weeks, all of a sudden, that fetus is gone. Because they've learned to take, that's when the fetus starts developing its own blood supply. Then they've used a pituitary hormone extract that they have, which accelerates the being that grows. And the original technology was given to our government by the Greys. Now, the reason was that our scientists were all excited because we could have spare parts. If you need a heart or a liver or anything, you won't have any rejection. It's your own DNA, right?
Okay, because theoretically, if we have overpopulation, we don't need more people, right?
But the so-called elite are selecting on who they want to have around anyway, so if we want to keep people going as long as we can. I talked to the doctor that was working on regeneration of Castro, for instance.
Right.
On the DNA sequencing. And they're just learning about this.
Well, my understanding is that a lot of presidents have already been replaced.
That's right.
Yeah,
I don't think...
They're walking around, they look old, but they basically, some of the people are just
I'll just give you something I'll give you something to ponder. Get some old videos of George Bush, when he first came into office. Look at the person and listen to him speak. Look at his actions and listen to everything that's there. Now, it's a lot easier to put somebody out in front to act as a, you know, even Bush did. He had somebody else that was up there acting like he is and look like it. Even Hitler had a, you know, he had his stand. In fact, his stand-in was the one that they found in the ground over in Germany. I mean, Hitler and Eva and the dog and 14 other people got aboard a plane and flew down to Barcelona, Spain. You were aware of that, and then ended up in Antarctica or in Swabenland, and then died a few years ago in Brazil.
That's what we heard. That's
Well,
what we heard.
I have all the documents from our own government.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a contact, one of our
Stalin
contacts.
even, Stalin asked for the, you know, they tried to burn the body, and he got the body back, and he said, wait a minute, different ears, and the testicles were different and everything else, so they knew it wasn't Hitler.
But is it a clone or not?
Oh, now you know going about cloning. Cloning techniques, since 1938, they've been making clone people. There's 8 countries making clones. I have a doctor friend
but
that
I
all he
wanna know
does
where
is treat
you-
the clones.
Where do you get your information?
I get it from some of the people that are willing to come forth, and they talk to me because they hope I'll put the information out, because they always got 2 people following them and they may be killed. If I start talking about cloning too much, the people that get involved into that disappear on it. So I don't go into too many more details, but there is information that's available, and more and more of that's coming on the line. I just told you, go rent the movie.
Okay, Boys from Brazil.
Yeah, and you'll see the whole technique on what they show it to you in different places, so you can imagine what it's going on.
Okay, so...
Now, let's go to the next step, because this is the most important part.
All right.
If your physical reality that you have, based on this physical life that you have, this dream, is made up of the experiences that is impregnated on your body and in your mind, consciously, right? Mm-hmm. Your soul memory is another thing. Mm-hmm. It goes back whatever time that you elected to be in this incarnation for whatever reason. Now let's show you the division on these things. Since the body is very physical, and we just got you making a physical being in a few months for spare parts, they said, now we've got the perfect deal. How can we have that work better? Well, if you go to the hospital today and get an encephalogram, what's that? That's the memory of your conscious mind. It's on the CD. Let's download it on this being. Now we got a walking, talking duplicate that has the total memory that you have, because we just took it off of your own mind.
Okay, it's like Blade Runner, the android.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that it's like this DVD recorder. Sometimes you have glitches in it, so you have to have them tuned up occasionally or redone. And so we take them to Camp David, or there's a wing at Bethesda Hospital to just tell you. If you go down there and check, you'll find the nurses, if they're willing to come forth, they'll tell you they work on those people, and they call them the others. I thought it was interesting. They're people. Remember, these people can think and act, but they don't
Sure.
have soul. That's also prophesized.
Right,
Soulless
that's
beings.
true. That's true.
Now we have another agenda that's going on, so you have to be careful of all this. There are many extraterrestrials that would like to be in on the game right now, so they can sometimes will come into these physical beings that we've made to manipulate them.
I see.
So now you have a combination effort that you have to look at, and discernment. You have to discern what the game is. Well, just figure that most of the leaders we have in the world have been bought and paid for or created to think a certain way.
And then it was such a hit. It was way bigger than I even anticipated. And now, I think we're gonna make part 2. I think you have to. I think you have to. They kill you if you try to walk away.
Bragg's apple cider vinegar.
Uh-huh.
Bill Gates bought it.
Oh, God.
Bill Gates now owns one of the few natural healthy tonics we had, and he's putting the apples in it with
the appeal?
The appeal, the creepy ass.
Oh, what is that? That's like a coating that they spray on the outside of vegetables?
Like some schmegma to keep the apples preserved longer.
Is it just apples?
For Costco apples to stay fresher longer.
But what is in it?
I would love to know.
Ugh.
I would love to know.
These motherfuckers, they get stuff out there before anybody's aware that these things are a problem, and then years later, you're like, what's in it?
Talc, asbestos.
Yeah.
And then you don't find out till later. So it's like talking about this and just being like, wow, being suspicious about should apples last for 4 weeks? And then I guess he owns half of the McDonald's potatoes for the French fries.
For you to keep the intimacy, 2 things got to happen. One, you got to understand cycles, and this is very important. And very important, especially for married people or people in long-term relationships. This is very important. And too much of something, too much of anything, you'll have a burnout. You're going to light that burns the brightest, burns the least. So moderation is one aspect of keeping things interesting. Now, you saying if you want your intimacy, I'm going to give you a tantric way, and I'm just going to give you a social way. We'll start with the social way first. Man and woman in their highest civilized state, not the Western state, which is civilized barbarism. We are nothing but products now because we live in the Western world. And the people who fast in this Western world is only giving you a backdrop of their incubation period, which was the cave. So as the caveman, one thing happened, and this is the social aspect. Well, I'll give you the highest level first and can show you how it deteriorated or how we got in the opposite ends of the poles. In the ancient world, man and woman did not sleep every night in the same room because cycles wax, wanes, and things can repel. If you're in the room and the energy is connected, you got it. But when the energy is stagnant and it repels, not necessarily because there's some things that's going on with your life as far as your behavior, your social aspect. No, it's because energy does that. That's just the way of this earth. And when those energies are repelling, you can burn up the energy, or the energy can drive you apart. How you keep a balance is, sometimes it's best for her to sleep in the other room, or you to sleep in the other room. You got to take a break on that. You see what I'm saying? Right. It's best for you to sleep in the other room. This way you can balance out these particular energies. You see what I'm saying? That's one social way of dealing with it. The tantric way is, if the male retains his semen by learning the tantric way of not ejaculating, then what will happen here is he will draw in her energy, and as a result she can draw in his energy because that's just her nature anyway. He would draw in her energy, and by him drawing in her energy, the energy will be a part of him, and it will be stored in him, and the desire will never go away. But too often, his sexual desire for her, every time he ejaculates, he loses that desire. And that's why you notice some men don't want to touch the woman right after sex. You see what I'm saying? Because he's lost his energy. So if you can you imagine every time you do some stuff, you coming and coming and coming, after a while, you will use up that desire. You see, if you don't learn the tantric way on doing that particular aspect. There is another alternative. And it might not be favorable to the Western world, but we have to consider two aspects of this. One is polygamy. Not necessarily in the marriage aspect, but not necessarily so many multiple partners, but it would be healthy to have, I'm just talking about an alternative, something we don't want to deal with now. I'm not telling you to go out, but I'm just trying to say, one of the alternatives is to balance your thing out with other partners.
What's happening, Puff? I'll be back to you if JD ain't had enough. Yeah? Jermaine Dupri, king of the pals, if you ask me, baby.
I mean, like, around the neighborhood, we would dance and sing a little bit, but I mean, we really got into it a lot when we met Jermaine Dupri, our producer.
The rabbit hole of disturbing Diddy allegations is getting crazier by the day, and reports just surfaced that Cat Williams discovered Diddy and Jermaine Dupri were both allegedly grooming and violating young male artists, including Criss Cross. One of the Criss Cross members, Chris Mac Daddy Kelly, died of an OD in 2013, and rumors are going around that his substance addiction was triggered by some trauma he went through as a child star. We all know that stories like this one are not rare in Hollywood, and many child stars fell into addiction after being preyed on and traumatized. Think Orlando Brown, Jeanette McCurdy, Purdy, Corey Feldman, Amanda Bynes, and many, many others. Now, these rumors about Jermaine Dupri doing something inappropriate to Kris Kross are not exactly new. However, a video recently resurfaced where Cat Williams called out both Diddy and Jermaine, and now fans are saying the entire entertainment industry is built on grooming, abuse, and trafficking. But what exactly did Cat say about Jermaine Dupri and Diddy? And did Kris Kross Mac Daddy really OD because of the trauma he went through? Let's get into it.
I'm gonna tell you like I told Puffy, I don't let men take me out, sir. I'm good.
So, to give you some context, Kris Kross became a mega successful hip-hop duo when they were only 12 and 13. Chris Mac Daddy Kelly and Chris Daddy Mac Smith were discovered by Jermaine Dupri in 1991, and just 1 year later, they exploded onto the scene with their massive hit, Jump. The song was literally everywhere, ruling the Billboard Hot 100 for 8 weeks straight and went double platinum as a single. Kris Kross went on to release 3 studio albums, all of which were produced by Jermaine Dupri and achieved massive commercial success. Their first album, Totally Crossed Out, reached multi-platinum status, while their second and third were certified platinum and gold, respectively. There's no doubt that Jermaine Dupri had an ear and eye for talent because thanks to him, Kris Kross became the most successful and youngest musical act of the early 90s. However, there's another side to this story, and after Chris Mac Daddy Kelly died from an OD in 2013, disturbing rumors started circulating that the boys were groomed and possibly violated during their early days of their career. On April 29, 2013, Chris was found unconscious in his Atlanta home and taken to the hospital. He sadly passed away 2 days later at age 34, and his family confirmed to the police that Chris had an extensive history of drug abuse. The following day, Jermaine Dupri shared a letter to fans and said Chris Kelly was like a son that he never had. To the world, Chris Kelly was Mac Daddy, but to me, he was the son I never had, Jermaine said. When I think about it, I spend more time with Chris and Chris than damn near anybody in my whole life, so you can imagine how bad this hurts. However, when Jermaine...
I read that you felt that the government was deliberately spraying cold germs in subways, was deliberately trying to make people ill with the AIDS virus. This is pretty serious stuff. Do you really feel that?
Well, that's a good question. Oh, I'm with Barbara Walters now. Oh, that's a serious one. Okay, so I got to now, because people are going to chase me after this. People are going to chase me. I believe that it is quite highly possible that the AIDS virus is a result of genetic warfare testing.
By American agents?
Absolutely.
Well, why?
Am I a conspiracy theorist? I'm a conspiracy theorist, aren't I? Gosh darn. I didn't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I wanted to be regular.
Well, you're a little irregular. Serious stuff. Do you believe in aliens?
I think that there has to be something out there.
Do you believe in government conspiracies?
Oh, absolutely.
No, I'm serious.
No, definitely. No, oh my God.
I know I heard you did. Are you serious now?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm very serious. You can't tell, can you?
Can't tell,
no. Can't tell. No,
okay.
That's sexy, though, that you can't tell.
Okay.
You're attracted to me, I can tell. I know, it's okay. It's okay, though. It's okay. I deal with that all the time.
It's the jiggy in me.
Yeah,
You know what I'm getting at.
Okay. What's going on? It's like you get some money, and then every time a black man gets some money.
What if I told you that these type of relationships have been intentionally used to siphon power out of our community? There's a time several decades ago when a brother even looking at a woman like that could get you turned into a tree ornament. And so it's no coincidence that when brothers started talking about black power, that we got Loving versus Virginia and interracial marriage became legal. This is where I put my disclaimer. Love who you want to love, but yeah. As soon as Loving versus Virginia was passed, a lot of our highest earners and most educated black people started to marry outside the community. And the plan was devious. The goal was to tell black men that instead of building your own power structure within your own community, the existing power structure that denied you access will now grant it to you. It was a way to make them feel welcomed and assimilate into a community that was not built for them. Those men that at one point would challenge the power structure started to feel included by it. And those women that feel powerless around their own powerful men have found a powerful man that they can be socially dominant over. Because no matter how rich you are, she's still more in control of your life than you are of hers. And now that financial power doesn't go back into our community, but back into the hands of someone that's only there for that financial power in the first place. Don't believe me? Then why aren't they marrying broke brothers at the same rate?
You see this street right here? It's named after a broken treaty and represents indigenous genocide. Yeah, I learned that from a white photography teacher while proctoring the SAT exam one day. As I was packing up my belongings on that April day several years ago, the teacher I administered the exam with, Mr. Joe Baltz, knew I taught U.S. history and asked if I knew about a local indigenous mound in the Joliet area. I said no. He then asked me if I knew about Indian Boundary Road, to which I also reluctantly said no. Mr. Joe Baltz went on to then tell me that in 1816, a treaty was signed and a boundary line was agreed upon between the United States and the Ojibwa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi tribes. This treaty stated that white settlers were permitted to only settle south and east of this Indian boundary line. This line ran from Chicago through Ottawa, Illinois. By 1833, indigenous tribes were completely driven out after the Black Hawk War and signing of the Indian Removal Act, which paved the way for the further establishment of this settler colonial state and the establishment of towns like this one right here, Plainfield, Illinois. Sometimes the history of this country is hidden, and other times, all you have to do is look up to find the clues. Rest in peace to the indigenous tribes that were removed for white settlers, and rest in peace to the man who taught me this, Mr. Joe Baltz. Thanks for the lesson.
Hello, Mr. Davis. We're celebrating 50 years of hip hop, man. It's been a great year.
Celebrating all year?
Yeah, well, all year. You know, the Grammys is having their big show a month from today.
Thank you. Don't you think I know that?
I know. You've been instrumental. What has hip hop meant to you personally?
I've been there since the beginning. You ever hear of Gil Scott-Heron?
No, Gil Scott-Heron?
Look him up.
I will.
So the idea became not only to use ideas that were familiar to people in the community, but to use the language that everybody could understand.
Of course, this poetry was always put down as street poetry because, of course, that's where the people were. People were on the street, and these were the people that you wanted to communicate with. The economy is in an uproar. The whole damn country is in the red. The taxi fares is going up. What? You say Billy Green is dead. Hey, what you say? Billy took an overdose. Well, now, junkies will be junkies, but did you see Gunsmoke last night? Man, they had themselves a shootout and folks was dying left and right. At the end, when Matt was cornered, I had damn near give up hope. Why you keep on interrupting me? You say my son is taking dope. Well, then call the law and call the doctor. What you mean I shouldn't scream? My only son is on narcotics. Should I stand here like I'm pleased? Is that familiar, anybody? Check out what's inside your head, you see. Never seems to matter when it's Billy Green who's dead.
Well, I will. No, I know how influential you've been, and thank you for all the music, man.
Yes, there was primitive art, and yes, they were masters of hunting and fishing, and courtesy came from the heart. And yes, there was love and medicine, religion, intertribal communication by drum, but no paper, no pencils, and no other utensils. They would discover all the places with promise. You didn't need no titles and deeds. Then they would appoint people to make everything legal, to sanction the trickery and greed.
The outhouse of bureaucracy surrounded by a moat. Citizens of poverty are barely out of sight. The overlords escape near evening, the brothers on the night. Morning come and bring the tourists straining rubbernecks. Perhaps a glimpse of the cowboy making the world a nervous wreck. It's a massive irony for all the world to see. It's the nation's capital, it's Washington, D.C.
Bro, did y'all know that Wendy Williams exposed Diddy like in, I want to say 1998? Then Diddy called the radio station that she was working at and literally got her fired, told the radio station that you won't get no more music from us. You feel me? Me and my people, you won't get no more music from us if she ain't gone, and she lost her job. I mean, that's the type of power that Diddy has, being a gatekeeper of the industry. But what makes this situation so weird to me is, did y'all see how Wendy Williams looked in 1998?
What's the matter with them?
Who put that fat rock on your hand?
There is no fat rock.
Nah, the other one. The left one. The left hand.
Anyway.
You're trying to twist it off.
Ralph, is it time to go into another break? Is it time? Big up to Brooklyn. Thanks for turning us on. I'm talking about Video Music Box now. Even though
I mean to tell me this lady was this beautiful. Somebody lying. Which makes me wonder, like, was this some type of punishment? Or was she replaced?
There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams. And she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle.
Y'all remember when Cassie shaved half her head bald and we thought it was just a trend? Watch this video of Young Jock right quick.
He jumped off the bar, came on and said, yo, Cassie, tomorrow, I want you to shave the side of your head. And I was like, what kind of request is that? So I was looking at Cassie, I was like, well, I was like, you're not about to do that, are you? She said, well, I mean, whatever Sean wants, I'm gonna do.
I'm a savage. Whatever I want, I'm going to get. Whatever I want, I have to get.
Quick thought. Notice how time's seem like it's been speeding up. Days seem shorter. It's because we are now living in a solar cycle. And what that means is your DNA has been upgraded, but you don't know it. Because everything that happens in the universe on a solar level, right? Or on a cosmic level, is happening on the inside of us because we are the universe. So the universe you see outside of us is the universe on the inside of us. So that means every time the sun, every 11 years, the sun allows these solar flares. These flares is just energy that the sun emits to upgrade our DNA and to change your physical form to a more spiritual form. That's why some people are blocking out the sun, because a lot of people don't want you to upgrade your DNA and want you to evolve consciously on a spiritual level. You need the sunlight. You need the energy that emits from the sunlight. That's solar flares. You need them. That's why time is speeding up.
Bro, I want y'all to take a close look at Jamie Foxx. Now, I told y'all a minute ago that this was not Jamie Foxx, you feel me? But nobody didn't want to believe me. Now, just look at him now. Look at his face. Mind you, he don't even have a head tattoo no more. You feel me? But just look at his face. Who is this? Somebody please help me out. Who is this? Because he looked like a mix of Denzel Washington and somebody else. Who is this? Come on, man. Be for real.
How are you, Jimmy? You're good.
All you gotta do is look in their eyes, bro. The eyes will never lie. That's why a lot of these celebrities that be in the clone conversations always got on shades. Y'all don't find it weird that we ain't even seen him on a live video since he been out the hospital? Wake up.
Me plead. Brought me to the gate. They wouldn't let me. I didn't go in. I came to the gates of the third heaven, and they told me. I watched 50 saints being permitted to enter the gates of heaven, but they didn't let me go in. They said they stopped me. The angel stopped me there and says, "Well, I got to the gate, and he says, if you go in, you can't come out. You got to stay till he brings you back." I said, "If I can't come out, then that means my physical life is over. And you told me I could ask him. Angel said, you can ask him, but you stand outside this gate and ask him. And so I did. I came and I was allowed to plead my case. And I was pleading to a God I couldn't see, but I knew it was total silence while I pled my case. I was telling him I reminded him of all my good works. I told him about all the things that I'd done, all the things that's what I was basing on my good work. I told him about all of that. And when he was never said a word till I finished. When I finished, then he answered me in a voice that sounded like thunder. Wasn't anything like the voice that Satan had used on him. He says, he started, I'm going to try to quote verbatim exactly what he says. Your faith is dead. Your works are in vain. The life that you lived and offered to me as a life of Christian service is an abomination that I rejected in the Pharisee. What made you think I would accept it from a Laodicean type Christian? In fact, untold millions are living the same kind of life that you lived, and they stand in danger of my everlasting wrath. Unquote, the living God. I couldn't believe he was talking to me. I'm a preacher. I'm a teacher. I just told him about all my good works, what I'd done, you know. And I said, no, Lord, don't you, wait, you don't understand. He said, you didn't do those works for me. You did them for a false God. I said, Lord, I worked for you. I called you Lord every day. Yes, you did, but you never made me Lord. What a difference. To call him Lord gives him a title. To make him Lord promotes him to ruler of life. Who is your Lord? But Lord, I was serving you. No, you wasn't. You served a false God. Then he named him. Satan's number one selling false God. S-E-L-F. Instantly. I knew everything he said was true. Had he reached down and picked me up and dropped me in hell, I would have said amen. But I couldn't move. I'm laying on my face, in the spirit. I couldn't move. I couldn't move. They came and angels came and took me away. They took me out and let me regain my composure and brought me back and let me plead the second time. Second time, I never opened my mouth. Then he began to talk to me in a compassionate tone. As he said to me, suddenly I realized, this is my Father, and I heard him. He was hurting for me. The God that created all of this was hurting for me. The smallest, insignificant piece of flesh that he had, he was hurting for me. Nothing mattered now. I didn't ask him for my life. I didn't ask him for anything else. But when this life meant nothing, he gave it back.